The Renaissance began in Europe at a time when the continent was slowly recovering from war, disease, and centuries of limited learning. For many generations, much of the ancient knowledge from Greece and Rome had been lost or forgotten. People focused mainly on survival, and old ideas were repeated instead of questioned. But as trade grew and cities became busier, a quiet change started in the minds of scholars, artists, and thinkers. They began to look back at the forgotten wisdom of ancient civilizations and wondered if the world could be understood in a new and better way. This curiosity first took root in Italy, especially in cities like Florence, Venice, and Rome. These cities were full of merchants, travelers, and wealthy families who supported art and learning. Ancient books were discovered in old monasteries and translated again. When people read these old texts, they realized that humans were capable of much more than they had believed for centuries. Instead of seeing life as something fixed, they began to see it as something that could grow with knowledge, creativity, and imagination. Artists were among the first to lead this new movement. They studied human bodies, nature, and light with a seriousness that had not been seen for centuries. Painters like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo transformed art by observing the real world closely. Their work showed emotions, depth, and beauty in ways that made people think differently about life and humanity. Their paintings and sculptures were not just works of art, they were statements about what humans could achieve through study and creativity. At the same time, scientists and inventors began questioning old beliefs. They no longer accepted explanations just because they were ancient or traditional. Instead, they performed experiments, measured results, and looked for evidence. This spirit of curiosity gave birth to new discoveries in astronomy, medicine, mathematics, and engineering. People like Copernicus suggested that the Earth was not the center of the universe. Thinkers like Galileo used telescopes to prove ideas that had once been considered impossible. Each discovery pushed open another door to understanding the world. Writers and philosophers also played a huge role in this rebirth of knowledge. They wrote about human nature, politics, and the importance of education. They believed that every person had the power to learn, think, and shape their own destiny. Books were printed in local languages instead of Latin, which meant ordinary people could finally read and understand new ideas. This spread knowledge faster than ever before, creating a wave of learning across Europe. As the Renaissance grew stronger, it began to influence every corner of life. Architecture changed as buildings became more elegant and symmetrical, inspired by ancient Roman designs. Music became richer and more expressive. Schools and universities expanded their subjects and encouraged debate instead of memorization. Even the way people saw themselves began to change. They no longer believed that their lives were controlled entirely by fate. Instead, they believed that study and understanding could open the path to progress. This movement eventually spread across Europe, from Italy to France, Germany, England, and beyond. Each region added its own style and ideas, creating a blend of cultures and knowledge. The Renaissance did not simply improve art or science, it changed the way people thought about the world. It encouraged them to search for truth, explore new lands, challenge old systems, and build a future based on reason and creativity.